Hello, this is our experiment, Mold in Potting Soil. I am Jude, and I'll be giving the introduction. So plants are a loving aspect in many homes, whether it's for the curiosity and wonder of them or the enjoyment of their aesthetic. While it is for plant owners alike, the growth of mold on potting soil produces the question, what is it and where does it come from? Fungi are successful inhabitants of the soil as mold spores can be present in any soil with the right conditions of moisture. Mold can become active. Studies have shown that mold grows faster in a light environment than in the dark on the surface of damp conditions, and that natural light is more suitable than artificial light for mold growth. Mold found on potting soil is commonly classified as saprophytic fungus, which can also be known as a litter transformer because it consumes decaying organic matter and converts it into something useful for the soil. So our hypothesis was the soil with the most added moisture will have a higher rate of mold growth. So with our methods, we transitioned from organic soil to inorganic soil halfway through our experiment. We noticed that the organic soil didn't absorb as much water, so it was kind of hard for molds to grow. And within the methods, they remain the same, just we changed the amounts of water, hoping that maybe the decreased amount of water would spawn more some spores to form of mold. And we found that the ingredients within the Fox Farm, which is the organic soil, has sandy loam, which retains water, and then also worm castings. These worm castings are loaded with beneficial bacteria and fungi that support other organisms and also enhance the moisture retention in the soil. And Miracle Grow, which is inorganic soil, has sandy foam or sandy loam, and then peat moss, which is known to break down slowly and retain plenty of water.
Okay, so hello, I am Hunter Kemball-Cook, and to continue on what Ju said, for our original soil that we started, the organic one, we did not get any results throughout all of our attempts, for the 6 milliliter, the 12 milliliter, and the 18 milliliter. We did over the span of, I think, 12 days. Yes, and we ended up getting no results, throughout the end of it with the added water. Then we changed our soil to inorganic soil, hoping for better results as well as lowering the water mixture because we were accidentally putting a little too much water, and we would take off the tops. Um, so we didn't really get any. We hoped that this would bring us better results, but in the end, we still had zero growth of mold on our soil. This is at the end of the day.
Hi, I'm Paula Martinez, and I'll be discussing the results. As Hunter mentioned, we were hoping to get more results with our inorganic soil. With our organic, we had no growth in mold whatsoever. We checked it every 4 days, and there was no development at all. Because of this, we reassessed with changing the soil and went to a more inorganic brand. But unfortunately, despite the changes we made, we still had no mold production. Next. Okay. As basically just restating, because we had no results, no more production in both our organic or our inorganic samples, we weren't able to provide like proper data in regards to writing our graphs and things like that. So yeah, that's where we were at, unfortunately. So as mentioned, our hypothesis was that the soil with the most added moisture will have a higher rate of mold growth. Unfortunately, based off our results, our hypothesis is incorrect. We had no mold production in either in any of our samples at all over the course of this experiment. If we were to do this experiment again, there would be two main changes that we would do. The first one is just having the proper amount of water added to the samples. This was an issue we had in the first phase of this with the inorganic samples, where we used 6 millimeters, 12 millimeters, and 18. However, we quickly saw that it was just too much water as it was flooding our samples, which could have affected as to why we had no mold growth. We changed it to 4 millimeters, 8 millimeters, and 12. It wasn't overflowing the samples, but it could have altered the mold production. It could have still been too much. So we definitely should have done like a less quantity of water for each of the samples. The second factor that we would have changed was the temperature. We stored it in a lab where it was roughly 70 degrees Fahrenheit in the room. Initially, upon our research, we thought that was good enough for mold production, but on our research, we just kind of figured what was best for mold production, but not what was best for mold production in soil. And according to that research, the best temperature was 77 to 86 degrees Fahrenheit. The lab was under that, so obviously that could have altered our mold production. So as a result, since we had no mold production, if this lab were to be recreated, we would definitely implement those changes, and I believe that would have led to more mold production as well.